welcome today to the Youth Pledge for Employers virtual career fair. It's great to have you here with us, and absolutely brilliant to have Sian with us from Genesis Orwell Mencap, who's going to be talking a bit today to us about her role and about the organisation. So thanks so much, Sian, for coming along.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. So first of all, tell us a bit about the organisation that you work for.
Okay, so Genesis All One Mencap is a charity. We're based in Ipswich, and there's quite a few elements to Genesis. So we are the only company. So we're an isolated charity.
Okay.
We have a daycare centre, which is where I'm situated today. So we have customers that come in for day activities. They come here and we have on-site activities, and we own some buses as well, and we have people that go out to the community as well. So they get to pick and choose what they want to do. So we have a quite a varied amount of bits and pieces that they can do throughout the day and throughout the week. And then we also have a supported living facility in Felixstowe where three of our lads live, and we provide 24-hour cover. So that's the domiciliary side of it. And then also some of our daycare customers, they require additional support in the evenings or first thing in the morning. So that could be getting showered, getting ready for the day, or getting
Okay.
ready for bed, having baths. So we also do that. And then
Wow.
we have a project called the Green Bike Project, where we recycle and reuse and build bikes. We bring bikes back to life. So we have lots and lots of people donate old bikes that need work. We fix them up here on site. It used to be based at Holywells Park, but we found that was quite isolated,
Right.
and we were quite disconnected from the customers and the staff that worked there. So we've brought it on site, and that's a really good project. It's been running quite a few number of years
Wow.
now. And then we also have the Wood Workshop, which is based on the same site, but it's in a different building over the other
Okay.
side. And that was the first part of Genesis that ever opened. So it was the
Right.
Wood Workshop that kind of took off initially. So Genesis was formed by a group of parents that had children with learning and physical disabilities, and they wanted to provide a safe environment, a daycare centre for them to come to during the day.
Wow.
So I think it was only about six parents, and then we just grew. So we're on an
Oh my
industrial
God.
estate, and so the building's not built for purpose, but over the years we've grown and we've got quite big quite quickly. So we have started to adapt the building to suit the ever-growing needs of the business.
Oh my gosh, that is absolutely brilliant. And it's so I've been making some notes while you've been talking. That's so diverse as well, isn't it? All those things.
Yeah.
That's not simply daycare, is it? That's total wraparound care.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's not much that we don't do. So it is busy. But it's so good because, we have customers that come to us that have learning and physical needs. We cater for mental health. We work very closely with Headway. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of people that come in that have sustained head injuries, and there is something for everybody. It's kind of a pick and mix service, and that's what the heart of Genesis is. That our mission statement is, we are what you want us to be. So
Wow. What a
we
brilliant
try
sort of
and cater for everybody's needs. We try and think of everything that anybody could possibly want to do. And even if there's something that somebody's looking for and we don't do, we're quite willing to look into it and try and seek a tutor to
wow.
fulfill that need to put on that activity, that session.
Oh, that is fantastic. And tell us a bit about sort of your role in the organisation.
Okay, so I've been here for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I started off. So
Love
before
it.
I've always worked with people. I like people. I love a chat.
Me
And I've
too.
always got on with people and I care about people. I've always been one of those people that likes to, if anybody's fallen over in the town centre, I'll be the one picking them up and patching them up and sending them back on their way. It's just always been in with me. And I worked for the NHS first. So I was a phlebotomist there, and I took
Oh, right.
blood on the wards. It's quite a cold job, and you're not very well liked, and I didn't like that.
Oh,
So obviously you're going onto the wards and you're poking people with needles, and
yeah.
I didn't get a very good response from patients when I went to see them, and I always wanted to spend more time. Like, it's
Yeah.
quite, you know, it's quite a fast turnover working for the hospitals, and but I wanted to spend time with people. And my sister worked for this charity, and she came home every day, and she was last like, "Oh, you know, what have you been doing today?" And she's like, "I've been swimming, I've been bowling, I've been horse riding, been carriage driving. We had a disco today." You know, I was like, "You danced like you danced all afternoon and you got paid and you've had fun with people?" Yeah, absolutely. She was being paid to be a good friend to somebody and just to support their needs and upskill them. And I thought, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, that's for me. So I applied for the job, got the position as a support worker, and then I was always interested in doing more than my post. So I was a support worker, then I started to organise activities, and then I got involved with the clinical side. And because I had a bit of knowledge from the NHS, I started to work on the medication training and do. I basically had my fingers in all sorts of pies, and I was
Right.
just interested in everything there was to do with care. I did my level two diploma, and then I went to do my level three. And then I had quite a gap for a while when I was senior support worker. And then I decided just to keep going, just to say, well, I've learnt this, so this is new, and I'll try this, and just upskilled myself over time. And then I
Mm.
took my level five in management, and I made support manager this year. So it took me 13
Fantastic.
years, but that's, you
Oh my
know,
gosh, that is absolutely brilliant though. And what a sort of inspirational journey through from sort of really finding a job that you've loved and enjoyed
yeah,
and kind of progressing through that. It
yeah.
sounds like there are lots of different roles within the organization. Would you tell us a bit about some of those as well?
Yeah, sure. So we have support workers,
Yeah.
which provide the direct support for the customers. And then we have senior support workers, we have independent leads, um, and we have like kind of like the lead position is in between support worker and senior. And then
Okay.
we did have an assistant manager, but that was my post. But now there's support manager. But there's also other bits and pieces that you can get your teeth into. So if staff are particularly talented or they've shown an interest at running a session, we have support workers running sessions. We've got support workers that can play drums, that can sing,
Wow.
that do arts and crafts out of work time. So yeah, it's like we work on people's skills. So just because you're a support worker doesn't mean that you then can't go on to be a dignity champion or a mental health first aider. So things like that. So if anybody's interested in learning more, we'll absolutely invest in them and train them up in anything they're interested in.
And you mentioned the sort of clinical aspects. Do those clinical aspects sit within those job roles?
They do. So the senior support workers here, they all kind of specialise in a certain area. So one of our seniors is moving people safely lead. So she does all of the
Right.
in-house training. So she develops people skills to move people safely.
Right.
And then another one of the seniors is head of medication, and she manages all the medication training. We like to provide as much in-house training as possible because we prefer face-to-face training. We can adapt it to our customers' needs. I
And
mean,
that
e-learning's fine and it ticks a box,
yeah,
but we like to, you know, face-to-face as much as physically possible.
there's it's a really rich way of learning as well, isn't it? A lot of the time, because then if you've got questions, they come up organically, don't they? Because when you see something happening,
It's
and that's
just the
interesting.
human touch, isn't it? You
Yeah.
want to be able to adapt it to everybody's. You can use real case scenarios and adapt it to the service and the customer's needs.
And so with those different job roles that you've identified, sort of working our way through, if I understand it's right, support workers, independent lead, senior support workers, support manager,
Yeah.
are there different qualifications that you might have at those different points? So to as an entry point as a support worker, do you need to have certain qualifications, or would you be looking for people to undertake certain qualifications as they progress through?
No, not anymore. In health and social care, they used to, businesses used to look into qualifications and see that as a
Mhm.
positive. But I think we've changed a lot now with our recruitment drive, and it's not just Genesis; it's across the board with health and social care. I think recruitment is quite difficult, but you just need if you don't have the skills, we can upskill you. So you don't have to have any kind of qualification to come in as an entry point. We
Yeah,
can upskill anybody. We can put people through level twos or level threes if they're interested. We also work with open universities, so we can do distance
right.
learning courses. So staff, if they're interested in any other particular modules like We've recently done end of life, medication, autism,
Yeah.
learning disabilities. So there are extra courses that you can take by choice if you want to go above and beyond and upskill
Right.
yourself. So no, there's no real entry point anymore.
But
You
lots
just
of
need
opportunities to
confidence.
progress as you go along the way.
Oh,
It sounds
absolutely.
like that.
Once your foot's in the door, there's lots of opportunities that you can do, that you can be involved with. It's just people just need to be confident. You just need good communication skills. Confidence and talking to somebody comfortably is really all you need as a starting point for health and social care. If you've got that, then you're flying. You sell yourself as a person, you're not selling your qualifications. People don't
Yeah.
see you as a CV. When you interview, we see the person. And so many people come to us and they say, "Oh, but I don't have skills, I don't have experience, I don't drive, I don't have a level two." It doesn't actually, it's always a bonus if they do, but what we look for is how good you are at communicating. If you care about people, that's usually enough. That's the first stepping stone.
And so that's really interesting. So sort of you've mentioned there about the kind of things that you're looking for when you're interviewing or like, when you're recruiting, like confidence and making sure people are comfortable sort of talking to somebody. What
Yeah.
things are, when you're thinking about actually recruiting somebody, what are you looking for in an application that kind of makes you make those sort of initial judgments about whether or not somebody may be those things?
Honesty,
Yeah.
integrity, confidence, doing the right thing behind closed doors. Social care is about being a good human, being a good person, and doing the right thing. You should always go into social care. Nobody goes into social care for the um, just for the money, because health and social care, if you're in it, you care about people and you care about making a
Yeah.
difference. And we make massive differences to people on a daily basis, and those differences may be small to some people, and they might not realize how important it is, but something as simple as upskilling somebody to make their own cup of tea in the morning makes such
Yeah.
a difference to somebody's self-worth and confidence.
Oh,
And
hugely.
given somebody the choice and decisions, even if you're working with somebody that's non-verbal, you upskill them, you give them other ways to communicate, and you get them to make their own decisions and choices, and you put them in the driving seat of their own life,
Yeah.
and that's what makes a massive difference. So if you've got somebody that comes in and they're interested in doing that and that's going to motivate them, you're there. That's all
Yeah.
you
So,
need.
so then on their application form, sort of talking about times where perhaps they've helped or supported other people,
Yeah,
if they don't have it, because I'm just sort of conscious that during the pandemic, work experience is incredibly challenging. You've obviously got extra features potentially around double vaccination, so I
yeah,
don't know, those sorts of things.
yeah,
But actually, so for young people wanting to go into the industry, as it were, into the sector, sort of being able to give examples of perhaps times where they've helped and supported other people, perhaps where
yeah,
they've had to
absolutely.
communicate in different scenarios. Does it help if people have volunteered or like supported at, maybe at guides or done different things where they've supported people, in clubs? I don't know. What
Yeah,
do you think,
the
Sean?
more somebody can do, if they can't do anything, then volunteering in lots of different environments gives you so much experience. I can't stress enough how much experience it can give you. It builds
Yeah.
confidence, and it also gives you the chance to try before you buy. If you're volunteering somewhere and you're not contracted, you're not in a job, you've not got that pressure of, oh, I don't know if I like it, I'm not quite sure. If you're volunteering, you're in the driver's seat. You have the choice to see what field you might be interested in. I mean, nobody really knows it, I don't think I really knew until I came here what motivated me. I did
Yeah.
beauty therapy at college, and I did a bit of that, and I've always been quite creative, and I never realized it was people that made me tick, that it's people that motivates me, helping people. I get enjoyment out of doing that. So I think find what you're interested in, try and
Yeah.
volunteer and try all those different workplaces and see where you're happy. If you're happy, then it won't be work.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting sort of listening to employers talking over the past couple of days, because actually so many people have spoken about the passion in a role and how much that actually is better than cash.
Yeah,
It's the thing that motivates people to sort of get up in the
yeah,
morning and do their jobs. I think that's really helpful to understand for sort of perhaps people who are thinking about a career in health and social care and concerned that they can't get maybe onto the right course at college, or they can't get the right work experience. And then at interview, I guess that you're looking for those communication skills.
Yeah, that is the basic. Communication is key. If you're a confident communicator, you're winning. You will be able to do whatever you want to do. It's not necessarily your qualifications and your grades. It's how you carry yourself and how confident you are in your own person.
Yeah, I think that's very, very true. And so you've talked about sort of caring for people, and being sort of honesty and integrity. And there's obviously loads of good stuff that you get in terms of like the rewards from your job. What are the challenges in terms of working in this sector?
Challenges are, I guess, funding can be difficult.
Hmm.
Customers' funding tends to shrink, as we know. That can people's funding packages can be cut, and that can restrict their lives. So that is a bit of
Yeah,
an issue.
and that must be
Um,
hard to watch if you're working in the sector alongside
it can
them.
be frustrating if you're trying to push for an individual that's needs have changed, but it's out of your hands. So,
Yeah,
but there's I guess there's other. It's not an easy sector to work in, but it's rewarding.
yeah. What what other sort of challenges might people experience? Because I'm a great believer in people making kind of, informed judgments about what sort of what suits them. Are there other challenges? Do you have to be incredibly patient, for example? Are there?
You do have to be patient, but when you come in to any care sector, you will be given full training. So
Yeah,
there is challenging behaviors which challenge. So people can communicate in different ways that you're not expecting them to communicate. So if somebody behaves in a certain way, it's not because they're bad or they're dangerous, it's because they're trying to communicate and
yeah.
they're trying to get their needs across.
Oh,
Um,
agree.
all behavior is a form of communication, and it all means something, and it's having those skills to look into it. And quite often at interview, when people answer some of our questions, we say, have you ever been in a position where somebody's being aggressive, challenging, you don't know how to handle it? It's been uncomfortable for you. Tell us about that situation and tell us how you overcame it. What did you do? And obviously, the worst thing anybody can do in any kind of situation like that is to add to it. If you raise your
Yeah,
voice to
it's the
somebody,
match.
you are going
Yeah,
to escalate everything. So it's about having those skills to talk somebody round, to be able to break down a problem calmly and manage that situation the best possible way you can. We all make mistakes. There's no
yeah,
perfect way of doing it, and each situation that arises, you will learn something new from it. Learn constantly all the time.
yeah,
um, so there are elements of social care that can be quite challenging, but once you've got your training, you understand how to use those skills and you have good communication skills, that's what gets you through the situation.
yeah. Oh, that is brilliant. And thanks for your honesty around that. And I think that's really helpful to understand how the training helps you kind of mitigate some of those challenges and learn how to deal with them. I think that's really useful. And in terms of sort of we've talked about the soft skills, are there any kind of harder skills that are useful to have in your organization? I don't know, like IT skills or anything like that. Is there anything that's useful to have?
I mean, we don't use IT really at the moment. We're still very paper based.
Yeah.
We are trying to move forwards with our case management system. So hopefully soon, we will have a new system to use. So yeah, IT would be helpful, but it's not
Yeah.
essential. Definitely not essential.
Anything else sort of in terms of hard skills that are useful? It sounds like
Uh,
being able if you've got an added skill like drumming or something like that, if you've got an interest, it sounds like that might be
if you've
helpful with
got
it.
something, if you've got any other interest, then it's great. Because yeah, we will use that. We will use that to our advantage as much as we can. We've had people come in that can sing, so yeah, if you can sing,
Oh,
that's
wow.
always great. If you can play an instrument, um,
And it sounds like your
thinking
clinical
outside of the
skills. I'm
box.
sorry, go on.
It's thinking outside of the box. It's thinking, if you've got a wet day, it's cold, you can't go out, you can't go and do what you would normally do. Activities can be cancelled due to the climate.
Yeah.
We've not got horse riding now, and that's such a favourite activity,
Oh,
but that's stopped for the winter now, so that won't open again until Easter. And it's about thinking outside of the box, thinking, right, what can I do? What resources do I have? what does this customer enjoy? What can I do? So at Halloween, sorry, back in October, we cooked up a load of pasta. We dyed it different colours, and we did a massive sensory play.
Oh, wow.
Um, and we've also got a customer that really she loves water, anything to do with water, and she is happy. So we had a really rotten week. I think it was not last week, the week before we had all the frosts,
Yeah.
and it was too cold for her to go outside. We've just had some of our facilities renovations, and we've now got a shower. So we
Yeah.
got her ready for swimming, took some shaving foam in there, and she spent an hour in the shower, and she absolutely loved it.
Oh,
It
that's
was just the
fantastic.
best afternoon. She was brilliant. She was happy. It didn't matter that it was raining outside and it was awful, but she had the best day ever.
Oh, that is brilliant, and that's another really useful skill, isn't it? Like you say, that ability to kind of think laterally almost, like to think outside the box, to think, right,
Yeah.
actually, how can we make this better for somebody else, and use what you know about them,
Yeah.
to do that. Oh, that's just been so interesting, Sean. Um, just to sort of wrap up, because I can't believe we've already spoken for like 20 minutes. Uh,
That was quick.
I know that's been brilliant. Um, if you were going to go back and have a conversation with your younger self, we've sort of asked everybody this about sort of starting on your career journey. What advice would you give yourself?
If I could do it all again, I probably would have gone to university,
Yeah,
and I would have gone into mental health nursing, I think, but it's only because of the journey in my career and things that happen along the way, and those little nuggets of training, gold nuggets of training that you pick up on your way through. I wish I knew then about. I wish I'd researched more into what I was really interested in, but the trouble is back then I didn't have any reason to know much about mental
yeah.
health. Um,
And so
so if
actually,
I
it's
could
sort of through
research
your
that, I
journey.
yeah. But through the journey and working with staff and managing a large staff team, and especially with the pandemic, I've just completed a emergency first aid mental health course, and I found it invaluable. It was amazing. If anybody ever has a chance to do it, do it.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter where you work, what you do. Mental health is so important, and I guess
absolutely.
I'm now a little bit obsessed with it, and I love it, and I will continue. I now want to do a counselling course.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
so I would go back and I would do some research and try and find out what really made
Yeah.
me tick.
Yeah, sometimes it can be incredibly difficult to know, but it sounds like you've really made that journey throughout your career. I'm sure that whatever you do next, that's going to benefit a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for your time today. It's been absolutely brilliant to meet you. And I'm going to stop the recording now. But like I say, thanks again.
Thank you for having me.